This week on the Minding Your Business podcast. If your business isn't converting, you don't have a product problem. You have an offer problem. Welcome to the Minding Your Business podcast. I'm CJ Jolliffe with, a really good friend. I didn't have anything prepared.
No,
I feel like I failed you. But last time I made too big of a deal of it. And then you were like, I need you to bring it down, be more subdued. And I got
a little
lost.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today's a short one, I think.
Don't.
Because
Well, now it's going to be 2 hours.
I say that. Because I think we're going to condense and try and be focused this episode. Typically speaking, we sort of ramble a little bit. And rather than that this time, I'd like to try to stay on task. So we talked a little bit about, right before we turned the camera on, about the importance of having more than just, I think you said, a product ladder, which I feel like I'm really good at creating product ladders. I just can't get anybody on the ladder.
Yeah, I mean, so are we just going to jump straight into the actual topic? We're not going to like mull around and just kind of.
Nope, we'll mull as we go. We'll just salt and pepper that crap in.
I'm not even warmed up yet.
It doesn't. Well, here's the thing. Once we started talking about it, we're like, oh my God, turn on the podcast, because it's so interesting. I have stumbled and failed at this. I think I didn't even get to verbalize it, but I would suggest probably between 25 and 30 times.
Sure.
That I have created online courses, and like I have made and attempted so many different product ladders and not found one that ever seemed to really click or connect. And I always just chalked it up to bad marketing. Oh, I don't have an audience. I don't know. Oh, the algorithm is burning me. It's keeping me down. Yeah. And apparently there's more to it than that.
Well, okay. So this kind of started, it was last week we were working on the book. Yep. And we were working through that section where we were talking about, product ladder and stuff. And so
right.
I think we need to be really clear, because there's some interchangeable terms. They're not really interchangeable, but people use them interchangeably. Product ladder versus offer ladder, or, value ladder. Like, so let's define some things first. So I think what it comes down to is, there's product ladder, which is here's the things that you sell, versus offer ladder, which is how you speak about them. So I'm just going to take you through, let's go on a journey.
Okay, so let's do it.
Grab yourself a cup of coffee, or in your case, tea, and sit back, relax, and imagine, if you will. No. So I'll ask this to you, right? But have you ever built a business, or tried to build something in your business? You put it out there and nothing happened, right?
Oh, all the time.
Obviously, right. We all have, there's no sales, there's no traction. You're just sitting there thinking like, this should be working. Right. So I think what happens most of the time is people, they build a product ladder, and it's not that the product ladder is bad, right? We've said this before, where you can have the best product or service out there, but if no one knows about it, you're never going to get anywhere. So what most people do is they'll just build that ladder, and it's because that stinking movie, Field of Dreams, if I build it, they'll come, right? And that's just not the case. So you have to build a product ladder, of course, and you have to have a product ladder to have an offer ladder. But if you don't give your audience a clear path, they're not going to take any action. So, you can build a product ladder, but what you need to do is give people a reason to climb it. So, just kind of go through some of my notes. So again, reviewing, defining, whatever. Product ladder is what you sell. Offer ladder is how you sell it. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to spin it a little bit. So product ladder, let's say that's what we build, right? Okay. So it's the lineup of products or services arranged from high to low commitment, or from low to high commitment. Sorry. So we start with, free or low commitment, and then work our way up to high commitment.
Okay.
Time,
energy, you definitely assisted me with that on my latest product ladder. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And You're right. The first thing is like, if you give me your email, I'll give you this thing. It
Yes.
isn't a matter of value, it's a matter of the commitment because it's a highly
Right.
valuable thing,
Right.
but I'm giving it away for just an email. I won't even talk about what it is because that's not
Right.
what this is about.
Well, here,
But
I'll use an example. This is what I use in my coaching business, right? So I start with a free offer, right? So it's
Mhm.
business health assessment quiz. It's super low time commitment, right? So it takes a few minutes. We do something
Okay,
similar with Lookie, doing a
okay,
like a social media checklist,
okay,
but that's a very low commitment. From there, let's say I want to get someone's email, that's a little bit higher commitment. Um,
okay.
like we've talked about before, most people value their email at about $20. So you
Yeah,
better give them something that has more than $20 of value, right? So that's what I
sure.
would put into like the low commitment level. So for
Okay,
me, it's a 30-day challenge. Give me your email and I'm going to send you an email every day for 30 days with one action you can take to help improve your business. So
okay,
it's a little bit higher commitment, but it's still a very low commitment thing. No money is exchanged hands. From
okay,
there, we go to kind of like a mid, so like an online course, a low one-time cost. Um,
okay,
then from there, like a clarity sprint. So that is a higher one-time cost. And then from there, moving into like the premium level where there's strategic partnership or retainer or, fractional CMO or something along those lines where there's a recurring cost, there's skin in the game, that kind of stuff.
okay.
But the whole point is this product ladder answers what rungs someone will climb. What are the rungs someone's going to climb? So it starts
Okay,
with this low commitment, free, low commitment, medium commitment, high commitment, premium,
okay,
whereas, here's where things get interesting. Offer ladder, it's what people actually climb. So, going
okay,
back to product ladder, what we build and then what they climb is offer ladder. So, product ladder,
okay,
what we build, offer ladder, what people climb.
okay.
So, same rungs, right? They're climbing up the products, but
Right.
with intentional messaging that gives completely different results. So, for example, like I mentioned, Clarity Sprint, right? So, if I
Mhm.
talked about that as a product, if you ask me, sir, what is this Clarity Sprint that you speak of?
Right.
Because that's how you speak. Um, I don't know what just happened. I would go in and I would say, if I'm talking about it as a product, I would say, well, it's a 4 hour to 8 hour strategy session. I spend a day with you or a half a day with you. And you tell me all the things about your business. I listen. And at the end of it, I, give you some suggestions. Okay. Now, if I want to speak about that as an offer, I would say, well, you walk away with a clear roadmap for the next 90 days so you can stop guessing and you can start executing. There's a very different feel to that, right? So that feels like it gives some kind of resolution.
I
You know
see.
what you're
Yeah.
getting as an outcome for climbing that rung. And so
Okay, that
the
makes
the
sense.
offer ladder answers why should someone say yes to this right now?
Not what they're
Um,
saying yes to.
not what they're saying yes to exactly. So,
Or why.
why does
Okay.
this matter, right? Most
Mhm.
people, they'll just build the ladder, right? And forget about it. They forget to make it climbable. They just think, oh, it's out there. People will climb it, right?
Sure.
But then nothing happens. And they're like, oh, it's not converting, right? So what we really have to do is create that offer ladder by speaking about each of those things in a way that makes them irresistible. We want to make irresistible offers. That
Yeah.
is like the best, shortest way that I can explain it. So, kind of reviewing here, a product ladder is what you build, an offer ladder is what people climb. And if the offers aren't irresistible, no one
It won't.
climbs. Right.
Right.
And
Makes sense.
unfortunately, like most people have no idea how to actually make an offer irresistible. Um,
Right.
so if you want to dig, I got a couple, more suggestions, right? So if you want to dig into like how we build a product ladder, which I feel like you don't need any help with, you've got a lot of
I'm pretty
experience
good at
in that.
that. It's so crazy because, like, in my day-to-day life, as a therapist, I am constantly talking to people about the why. If the why is big enough, the what doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, but if all we do is focus on the what, oh
Right.
my God, and you need to get good sleep. You got to start going to bed earlier and you need to get up a little bit later and get up on time and don't stop snoozing 4, 5, 6 times. Just set
Yeah.
the alarm, get up out of bed. That what is way too big for them to tackle
Yeah.
without a why. Like, why would they bother doing that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, well, because once you get better sleep, you're no longer sleep deprived, which means you
Right.
can eat better because you'll be more focused, which means then you feel better. It gives you the energy to exercise. So now you're exercising right, eating right, and sleeping right. Like you have to start somewhere.
Right.
And why would you want to do all of those things? It's a matter of why. If you're like, well, because
Right.
my doctor said so, you're not going to do it.
No. No.
But oh, my wife told me I need to, or my husband said I should. You're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But if you're like, you know what, I'm tired of feeling this way and I'm ready to make a change. Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's going to be a big enough reason. You're going to get out of bed. You're going to sit down. You watch what you eat. You're going to do that exercise. So it's about the why. But when it comes to
Yeah.
my business,
Oh,
when I'm doing the business part with the online thing, and I'm like, man, I'm doing a really good job of building an irresistible what? No, it's not. Like it's only irresistible when you know what it does, like
right.
why it's
Right.
important. Like the tool itself or the technique or the thing, it really isn't, it's not something somebody wants to do. It's like, oh, you know what? If you want different results, all you have to do is change what you're doing. People are like, no thanks.
Ah,
I'd rather keep doing what I'm doing, but get different results, as if that's a possibility.
right. Oh boy, isn't that the truth? Well, here,
Yeah.
let me run you through a few things on how to build a product ladder and then how to build an offer ladder. This is super simple, right?
Let's go through it.
So,
Because
build a product
I'm
ladder.
right in the process of doing it, so this way I'll use it as a checklist, so I
Right. And
appreciate it.
again, you've done this, right? So
Mhm.
most everyone has built a product ladder. And if you haven't, you need to.
Well, and
If
I
you
might
only
need to
have the
add
high commitment
something.
offer, I know a
Right.
really good friend that only has a high commitment offer. And we've talked about what things he can do to come up with a lower commitment offer so that he builds out a product ladder because you're missing out on a lot of business if you only have that high commitment offer, right?
Sure.
So, first of all, define each rung, right?
Right.
What is low, what is high, and what are the
Okay.
things in between? What do those natural steps look like? And make sure that it looks like a natural step to go to this next level. And that doesn't necessarily look. A great example would be like web development, right? So
Okay.
that might be a high level commitment. It could be a $10,000 website or something, right? And
Okay.
maybe the next level up is just to get them on a recurring maintenance plan. That's not a big step, but they have to have gone to this step before they
To
get to
get to
this
the
step.
next
And it's such a natural, easy progression to go into that maintenance. So, a great example. Let's stick with web development. So, let's say the main offer is just a website.
Okay.
Whether it's a $5,000 website, a $3,000 website, a $10,000 website, it doesn't matter. If that's your only offer, what can you do to create something that's a lower offer to get people in and to build trust? So what I would say in this situation is a part of every website build is going to be some kind of discovery, looking at what the current website has, what it's doing, how it's functioning, how it compares to competition, and how you're going to carve out your slice of the pie. Um, and so that process takes time. It takes hours. So whatever time that you would be billing for in your whole project, cut that out and sell that as a standalone service. Maybe it's $500, maybe it's $2,500. I don't know what you bill. I don't know how much time you put into it, right? But take that, sell it as a standalone, something you can deliver to the client and just say, here is what I would do. Here's what I recommend. And then at the end of that, you say, and if you would like to move with me, here's my price, and I've credited you this much money that you just spent on the actual
Towards that.
right. So what
Right.
you've done is it's a lower barrier to entry, and you've built their trust. You've earned their trust. They see you now as the expert, and making that sell is a lot easier. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nope, that
So
makes
that's
sense.
that's product side, which is
Okay.
most people have a handle on that. On the
Okay.
offer side, it's really just crafting the messaging for each of those rungs, right? So, you want to make sure you have a clear outcome, you have a clear value, and you have a clear reason to act right now. That
Okay.
is what makes each step irresistible. So, you know, obviously,
So
like, yeah, go ahead.
sorry, it's the bing bing, flag going off.
Yeah.
Love I love the idea of the targeted, powerful, clarified, articulate meaning that explains the why they should do it, to where they get that. How do you deliver that message to them? Is this through an email sequencing? Is this through videos? Is this through one-on-one conversations over the phone on like how would you go about, or is each different thing potentially different?
That's a really great question, and I'm going to answer that in one word. Yes. So, yeah, this comes down to not how do you prefer to communicate, but how does your audience prefer to communicate? How are they going to receive that message? Obviously, in person, face to face is almost always the easiest to communicate, um,
Sure.
but then it doesn't scale. So, yeah, I mean, it's across all of your things and everything you do, whether it's email or social posts or sales calls, it all should be reinforcing the same thing, which is just moving them to that next step, giving them the confidence in what you're offering to move them naturally to that next step.
That makes sense. Okay, I appreciate that. So basically, if the next rung of the ladder, you need to make them aware of it. You could
They need to be
probably do
aware
that
of it.
through a newsletter or through a
Yep.
whatever. That could be video, audio, it could be written content, it could be a link back to your page, it could be any number of things.
Yeah.
And it really depends on who your audience is. If they're hyper professional, busy, corporate, C-level people, they're not watching Instagram or YouTube.
No.
They're not.
They're also
So
not on
you wouldn't
LinkedIn.
so you wouldn't put no, they're absolutely not on there. You wouldn't put it there because
Right.
they're not gonna accidentally see it and go, "Oh, this is great. Yes, I wanna move to the next level." So you're going to have to play to your audience. You're gonna
Sure.
go to them and you're gonna serve them where they are. You're not
Yeah.
gonna try to necessarily bring them to you. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Appreciate
but
it.
I think at the base level, all of this stuff should be communicated clearly on your website, right? Um,
Uh-huh.
Speaking of websites, right? So, but the idea is like once you have that clarity of all the pieces, like that's what builds the ladder, right? And then
Okay.
irresistible offers is what makes people climb them. If you're not moving forward, if people aren't moving forward in your business, if they're not climbing your ladder, it's basically because you haven't made that next step really clear and really compelling.
And
So
enticing. Yeah,
enticing.
they don't
Yeah.
have that desire to do it. Okay, so speaking of that, I've rebuilt my website this past week.
Yes,
Um, you got to take a look at it,
I
and
did.
it's probably the clearest and most on brand website to date.
Yes.
I've been screwing around, and I know you build websites, and you were kind enough to just give me the back end and let me do my own because I knew better than the website builder for the last, God, how long has it been? 5 years, 6 years? Anyway, I've
Something like
wrecked
that.
the thing and I've got 300, I think last time I checked, like 350, 360 pages of website with all of the posts and the blogs and the articles and the everything. And I basically had to nuke 330 of those pages.
Oh,
So
man.
I'm starting over. It was really a brain dump for someone with ADHD. Every time I'll write an article on that. And I would,
Yeah.
but they don't all necessarily neatly connect together. Is there a way to tie them? Yes, but Google didn't understand it. And so my
Right.
website never gained any traction. So I decided to pick one lane and put all my eggs or all my attention into that lane for the time being. So that's
Yeah.
the direction I'm going. Now, I think you've seen my product ladder right now is one rung
Yeah.
because I'm not going to build any more rungs until I know people are coming up the ladder. But you made an important point that the first rung on my ladder is an email exchange because of what I'm giving away.
Yeah.
In my mind, the base that sat on is the free content or the information that I'm giving people on social media, on the top of the funnel that's leading people in through the YouTube channel, the social media, the posts, all of that. I figured I'm enticing them with information and offering them, here's what I can do for you. Is this happening to you? If it is, come read about it. Come learn
Right.
about it. Let me make you aware that it isn't probably what you think. So that insight was the free thing in my mind. Is that enough, would you say? Or do I need to give them something else first? Maybe
Okay.
an assessment or a something. Like, should I
Yeah.
create?
Um, it's a really good question. And the thing is you can't answer. Here's where my brain goes, right? So you might have to give away something like that. Obviously, you're giving it away for free, but you're
Mhm,
asking for their email, right?
mhm.
And so you might get more traction if you give it away for free without asking the email for the email, and then do some kind of next step, that's where you ask for the email, because then you're truly being more altruistic to
Gotcha.
them, and then they
Yep.
get value up front before ever even being asked for their email. Then if you give them a
Okay, I
reason
can
to
see
give your
that,
email, you're
and
gonna
I
have a
can see it.
better.
Ooh, God, I have to change a lot of the verbiage on
And I'm
my
not like, you
newly
don't
built
really know
website,
this until you test it.
but here's what I could do, because there's 4 tools that people need in the loop, basically, to break the loop. There's 4 tools that are necessary. And I was basically going to give the first 2 to people if they gave me their email address. Once they
Yeah.
started using those, because there's no sense in giving them the second 2, um, until they're using the first 2. And it's like, I don't want to say, oh my God, let me explain how you're going to get there. You're going to go here and you're going to turn there and you're going to get on the freeway and then you go there and you get 2 off ramps. And then
Right.
like, all I'm going to say is get on the freeway. And then they're like, okay, I'm on the freeway. And I'm like, now drive 2 exits down, get off, let go, turn right. And they're like, okay, I did that. And they turned right. And it's like, here's the next thing. Now here's what you're going to do next. Because there's no sense in overwhelming people, because it feels a little overwhelming at first
Yeah.
because it's so unfamiliar. But
Right.
once they make a few small adjustments and changes, they start using these tools, boom. So maybe I give away the first 2 and then say, now that you have them, give me your email and I'll give you the other 2.
Yeah. And look, I think there's look, the internet is not new anymore, right? Like, we've
Mhm.
all played these games. And so asking for email, um okay, good example. Doing a quiz funnel, right? Where, you have a quiz and then at the end you ask for their email. I actually think it's probably better just to start the quiz with, if you're going to ask for email, it's like, hey, let's get your email first. Like,
Oh, for
be
sure.
be real, right? Don't waste their time and then ask for their email, because then they're going to feel like it was bait and switch.
Right.
So I think if you're going to ask for the email, just ask for it up front, or give them the results and then incentivize them to give you
The
their
email.
yeah. And so, but again, you don't know these things until you test it, right?
Okay. So
But I
maybe
do
I've already
like
got all the,
giving
I've
away
got all
information.
the, I have all the copy now. So maybe I'll just wait, see if it
Yeah.
doesn't, if it's not, what do they call it? If it's not converting, then I'll change the messaging.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with like not giving everything away, right? So even in what I, in describing like the product ladder and an offer ladder, I mean, I'm pulling that. I'm looking at my, if you saw me glancing to left or right, it's because I've got slides, right? And so
Mhm.
I have this talk prepared to, to give to
Right.
groups and that kind of stuff. But um, you obviously got the very hyper concentrated, quick version.
That's
But
fine.
what I didn't do is I didn't go in. I laid just a little seed in there. And it was, the unfortunate thing is that people don't really understand how to create irresistible offers. And then I moved on and we talked about other things, right? But the idea is like to create a hunger. First of all, we've talked about product ladder and product and offer ladder, right? So you
Mhm.
understand what those things are made of. But if
Right.
I went in and we started talking about how to build an irresistible offer, that's its own subject. Like,
Right.
that's the next chapter in the book, right? We
Right.
can't just get it all done in this chapter. And so
Right.
I think it's good to I don't want to say like a carrot, always having a carrot, out in front of them. I think it's just a little bit of like, oh, and also there's this if you want to, if you want to continue down this road. So,
Right.
but I wouldn't say that you have to give it all away. Just
Right.
entice people. I mean, you said the word entice, right?
The
Um,
way my brain works is I'm standing up above, looking down at somebody, and I'm looking at the maze, and they don't see it. And if I tell them, "Oh my God, I'm going to walk you through this maze, and it's going to be like 19 turns, and you're going to have to go, and you're going to get tired, and they're going to go, nah." But I go, "Can you see the end? Yep. Walk down there. Okay, and now I'm here. I can turn right or left. Okay, turn left.
yeah,
Okay, and then keep
yeah,
walking. Did you come to the door? Yep. Stop. Turn
right,
right." Like, if
right,
I do that, I can walk them right through it and they don't feel the weight of how far they've come,
yeah.
because each thing is only one small decision built on a different small decision they've already made. And
And
so,
I'm going to add to your analogy here.
okay.
And if you were just some voice shouting at them, would they listen to it?
No.
But once
Why?
they identify that you have been through this or you can see where it leads, then they'll start listening to you.
Okay.
Does
Oh
that
my
make
God, this
sense?
goes back. Yes, but this goes back to the episode we did before about if you don't promote yourself, if you don't tell people who you are and what you do, why would they ever have any reason to listen to you? Who's ever
Great
going and
point.
who's going to promote you anyway? Like you
Yeah.
to be a credible source, you have to say, I've been there. I know what I'm doing.
Mm,
But
yeah.
everybody is afraid to say that because they're like, well, I hate to toot my own horn. Okay, well, no one else
Right.
is going to do it.
Right.
Like everyone is too busy holding their own horns. Like
Right.
nobody's doing it. So you have to have that comes down to that testimonial thing. Once you've helped enough people, then you don't have to toot your own horn anymore. But
Yeah.
you have to
For
make a
sure.
noise and get seen first to help enough people so that they can go, no, this person knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
They can
Yeah.
help you. They help me, they can help you. Boom.
Right.
So
Yeah. But it comes down with like you have to define your credibility, right?
yeah.
If you're just some voice yelling at them and from the labyrinth,
Just that irritating noise. Shut up. Yeah,
right?
I got you.
Your
Okay.
left or my left. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh man.
stage left. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, if we can just for a second, I wanted to tell you about this interesting call that I got yesterday, actually.
okay.
So, you know, um, there's several different business lines across all the businesses, and they all, at different times of the day will ring my phone depending on if I'm available or not. And, it's all a virtual phone tree.
Right.
But got a call yesterday on the Lookie line, and
Okay.
so it's just this person, and they were like, "Hey, this is gonna sound really weird, and it's coming from left field," and I'm paraphrasing, right? But
Sure.
basically, like they had seen a case study on Lookie on someone else's website,
Okay.
and they basically were like looking for um, just our input, like, okay, you use this service, what what do you really think about it? Like, yeah, they're saying that you loved it, but can I ask you some questions? And it's okay if you don't want to answer, I understand it. And basically they were looking at creating a social media business, right, or doing part of that as part of their offering.
Okay.
And so they're just trying to do their due diligence and stuff, and I'm like, absolutely, let's, what questions do you have, you know
Sure.
because look, it's just like this podcast, like, why are we doing these things, man? Like, I just feel
Mhm.
like if we can help people, if we can encourage people, if we can help them skip past some of the harder things, avoid making some bad decisions, then I don't know, that makes me feel like it was all worthwhile. Anyway, so great conversation. And yeah, anyway, long story short, we was able to give them some direction, and we really love the service. They've been great for us. And so I think they left the conversation, just like really super appreciative and everything. And I don't know, the whole point. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, before you make a point, I'm getting the impression that they're wanting to start a business that would be in competition with Lookie,
Yes.
and that didn't worry you. You're like, no, like there's
There's enough
enough.
fish in the sea. Yeah.
And so if you can actually help somebody build a business, even if it's a competing business, let's be honest, it isn't a direct competition. Even if they do exactly what you do, the
It
market is
was,
so
yeah.
big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. It
And
was
better
funny too
to
because they're
have
like,
and better to have quality people
yes.
in that business. If you can help somebody who knows what they're doing representing that business, it gives credibility to the
Yes.
entire industry. So I appreciate that. So they're starting a business or considering starting a business?
I think they're starting it. Yeah, they're just trying to they're crossing all their T's and dotting all their I's, right? So,
Man. Uh, well, I hope that during the conversation you mentioned the podcast, and if you
well, I
did,
did. Yes, yeah.
and if
So,
they're
so
listening,
here's what
then
I
why
did,
don't
because
they
I
call
basically
in?
was
'Cause
like,
go ahead.
they were like, "Hey, what's your personal, Instagram?" And I was like, "Well, I could give it to you, but like I don't post much personally, you know." I
Okay.
said, "But if you're wanting, to follow, anything beyond like the Looky social accounts," I said, do this podcast with a friend. He's a marriage and family therapist, and it's minding your business, like the mindset, and bring the business. And we started talking through it, and he's like, oh yeah, and he sent him to the website so he could subscribe, or they could subscribe wherever, right? All the
Okay.
different things, all the different places, because who knows, maybe they're an X user, like one of the weird
Yeah.
people like me.
Sure.
But no, I think that I'm looking now to see, when the new subscribers pop up, I know this
Right.
person's name, and so I want to see if it's that person. But
Okay. Well, don't say
you
it because, let's
yeah, I
not
won't
out
say
the
it. I won't prime it.
business. But at the same time, if they have any interest, I would love, just this is me personally, and you can shoot it down if you want, but I would love to have them contact us and we could do a segment and they could update us every so many months about how their business is going,
Oh yeah,
where
yeah,
their mindset is, how it keeps shifting, how it changes. Because right now, I'm sure they're stoked and excited. Like there's no
mm,
way to lose, right?
yeah,
But they also seem to have their head about them if they're doing their due diligence. So I'm excited to see somebody who's actually putting in the effort to start a business, not just shooting from the hip.
yeah, yeah,
So it would be fun to kind of maybe like a case study where we follow them for a year or something.
yeah, yeah. I
Um,
mean, I know that we're kind of doing that with our own things, right? But like, it
yeah,
would be great to get
have a
that.
segment
Yeah,
every so many episodes where we're like, oh, here's an update. And so anyway, if there's any interest in that, or if
yeah,
you are listening to the podcast and you're interested in showcasing your journey, and we'd love to hear from you.
yeah.
So
Well, you know who you are. Um,
mhm.
and I don't know. Well, what do you think about this, Aaron? Obviously, like that'd be super fun content, I think, to go through.
Right?
But since they are in the middle of starting all this, like we could give them an advanced draft of the
The book?
the book. Yeah, that's
Yeah, that'd be
it's
I
getting
think
close to done. We're done with 5 of 7 chapters,
uh-huh.
I think. Is
Yeah,
that
we're
right?
on what is this
We have
version
2 we have
3?
2 more we have to fit. We're on version 5 of the book, but whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but
No, that
but
would be
what do we know about the book, Aaron? We know who our audience is, right?
uh-huh. We
It's
know that
people
now.
that have, experienced some success and
And
experienced some failure,
uh-huh.
or maybe lack of success is maybe a better way to frame that.
Yeah,
But
because not failure, they haven't given up. Even if it was a failed attempt at business, at a specific business, now they're trying a different one or a different way of doing it.
yeah,
It was learning. So
yeah,
that's what we need. We don't need somebody who's just been ultra lucky, hitting it out of the park. Every single thing they do is just, made of gold. We're not
right,
going to be able to help them because
right.
they don't need it. They don't need it yet.
Yes,
So,
yes. Well, but see,
anyway.
you used a great word there, "yet,"
Oh yeah,
because
it doesn't.
you
Nothing lasts
oh,
forever. So come
no,
on.
no, no. And like, so we talked about this when we were figuring out who our actual audience is, right? So, dear listener, um, if you have not experienced failure yet, well, you're probably not listening, right? So,
Right.
what we know about our audience is that they have experienced success, but they've also experienced lack of success,
Mhm.
and they're not giving up,
Delayed. Yeah.
right? So, and that's why our trying to give value, right? That's why we want to do that. That's why we want to encourage you. And I think that that's what we've been saying this whole time,
Mhm.
but it took a while for us to really identify, here is the one thing that really, really defines who our audience is.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just like I had someone that I was coaching,
Okay.
and it didn't last because they weren't listening. And they weren't listening because all of their ideas were gold.
In
And
their mind anyway.
in their
Yeah.
mind, right. And they hadn't experienced any lack of success
Okay.
yet. And so it's just a matter of time until something doesn't meet your expectations. It doesn't have to be a complete failure. It doesn't have to be bankruptcy, right? It can just
Right.
simply be like, this campaign didn't work the way we thought it
Right.
would, right? It's coming. And I'm not saying that to be, Debbie Downer, right?
Uh-uh.
It's a fact of life, right? And
Yeah.
it's that this is the deep cut, right? This is going back to like episode 14 or something, right? It's in the teens. It takes being resilient to
Mhm.
be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. Speaking of resilience and failing for a very long time, um, as avid listeners might know, I started a YouTube channel, well, multiple YouTube channels, but the last one I was really taking seriously, which was relationship help and advice. That one, my goodness, went on for it's probably almost close to 3 years now. And I can say this, it's finally finding its audience. And maybe it's the
Okay.
new algorithm change with AI and it being intentionality instead of, simple clicks and so forth,
Sure.
but it's starting to grow again. And that got a little bit exciting. I thought, man, look at this. I'm getting like 10 to 15 subscribers every month. And I haven't posted a new video in it for 8 months
Oh,
at
wow.
least. I haven't touched that thing. It's been a ghost town, but I look at it every so often. And I got a little story. I looked at it the other day, a couple weeks ago, and there was a message, and someone had messaged me. And I don't want to say too much, but they were in a relationship that was failed. It was on a video about no contact, and they were like,
Okay.
"We have children. We can't do no contact. Like there's
Mm.
some." And so I messaged back, gave him a message, and I got a member who is a paying member of my channel now. It's silver membership. It's like a couple bucks. Um,
Nice.
but I've never had that before. And
Okay.
it's strange because I feel like this deep like obligation to do more on the channel for them because
Mhm.
they not only subscribed, but like a they're paying money to
Right.
make sure that
Right.
I keep doing what I'm doing. And I'm like, I feel like I owe them that now. And it is amazing. Like this, I understand there's going to be a lot of people listening to this saying, well, one subscriber and $1.50 is nothing.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
why are you getting excited? Like, why would you even ever feel? But I'll tell you, there's just something to where it's like they put their money where their mouth is. I can say this. I listen to many podcasts, I watch many YouTube channels, and I pay them by sitting through the ads.
Yeah.
But I don't care enough, deeply enough to pull out my credit card or my debit card and have it debit money to pay them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, I
It
feel
does.
like that's a deeper level of commitment. Like, that deserves recognition. And so I'm going to start, um, I'm going to start creating more content that speaks directly to what I was asked
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
video because I feel like that's important. And if the algorithm can find that person and present a video to them and they say, I resonate with this person, not with what they said, but with the person, because the video was talking about something that they can't do.
Right.
That's not something that they're in a position to use that tool or that technique. But obviously I resonated enough with them that they said, I want more from this person.
Yeah.
I don't know. That feels like it's kind of soul affirming.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
strange. I know I did, but I made over 100, at least 100 and something videos on that channel. I did get a few comments and I got some stuff. And I would every time I'd get a comment, I'd feel indebted and I'd comment back
Yeah.
and I'd make a video for them. And if they asked me for a specific video, I'd make it.
Yeah.
But I really feel an ongoing, and maybe they'll cancel. It doesn't matter. But the fact that they did it, like, I'm like, nope, I owe it to them. I have to do it.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, it's weird. It does take time and you have to be resilient. So I get
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Um, and you have to give it enough time to be successful. So when you said people that have not experienced success and people that have experienced success, I feel like I've had a lot of unexperienced success. But even in those cases, I don't kill the idea because I'm like, no, it just hasn't worked yet. I'm
Right.
very much a
Right.
yet person.
Yet. Exactly.
Yeah. And
Well,
so
you
I
said
didn't
something in
kill
there
it.
that I
I
really,
killed
really
it.
like.
Okay.
You said creating content based on what you're asked, right?
Yeah.
So creating content people want, right? So
Yeah.
that makes me go, I mean, I think we've said it before, but man, what are the things that you, dear listener,
Mhm.
what questions do you have? Whether it's about, mindset or any, strategy or tactics, what kind of content do you want to listen to? Or do you just want to hear us ramble for an hour? Because we are very,
We
very
can
good at
do
that.
that. That we
Yeah.
can do. I'd love
Yeah.
to be able to answer questions. We don't have a lot of them, and we just kind of have to guess, like, what would our potential listener want to hear? And what
Yeah.
we have to then put ourselves back into that place, which is not hard. That's like, what, a week ago?
Yeah.
Week back, where it's like, okay, when I'm starting this business, what are some things that I wonder about? And one of the
Mm,
things was like clarity on my website, clarity in messaging,
yeah.
um, offer ladder. Man, I
Yep.
needed to know that. And to be honest, this is why even now in my business, as I'm setting it up, like I have a book. That's not part of the offer. I have
Right.
a
Right.
course. I got like 4 courses. Those aren't part of the offer because I created all of those things and created multiple offer ladders before, but
Yeah.
now I'm like, I don't want to offer people something to where they go, "Oh boy, if you just had, well, you have all those things, but I'm not interested in any of that. What I wish you had was that's what I want." I want people to go, I got this. What's your next thing? I'm looking for this. Tell me
Yeah.
what you're looking for because I don't need you to follow my map to get somewhere if you're uncomfortable going through the things I went through. Like I can say, "Oh no, I can get you to the town. We just have to go through this swamp." And they go, "No, no, no, I'm allergic to mosquito bites. I'm not going through the swamp. I need to go up and climb over the mountain." And I'm like, "It's dry and hot. We don't want to go that way." Well, they might. So either way, I know how to get to the village. I'll just take you the way you want to go. I shouldn't force you to go the way I want you to go to get there.
One thing I would encourage you to do, Aaron, would be, um, if you can,
Okay.
so this is gonna take some discipline,
Okay.
jot down your ideas of the other things that you could add to the other rungs you could add to your product ladder.
Okay.
But if you're wanting to hold off on creating anything, I think that's healthy for you, especially where you're at right now, right? But
Yes.
jot down what the possibilities would be, and
Okay.
then at least
Out of
you
my
can,
mind.
yeah, yeah, get them out of your mind, right? But then at the same
Right.
time, you're not then you won't be hopefully you won't be caught off guard when the demand does come, right?
Okay.
And also knowing you, if you have those things written down, you're probably gonna daydream a little bit about what the could look like and then what that could be and all that stuff. You're gonna at least in your on your back burner, you're gonna be some do some processing. What I guess
Uh-huh.
I would encourage you to do just from a, you know, just have the discipline to not jump in head first at this
Not
point.
create the entire thing. I think
Right.
you're right. I
And you can
do
always
find a
you can
little
stay
bit
a
of
step
peace.
ahead of the market, right? You
Yeah,
don't need to be
I
5
do
steps ahead.
find peace writing it down, and then as my brain fleshes it out, like, at least write the outline.
Right.
And then I'm like, "Now I can come back in and I can fill this outline out. I don't need to do it. I could do it on the fly." Like,
Yeah.
but get the outline down to where I'm like, "No, this is where we're gonna start. It's gonna go to here, 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 and end
Yeah.
here." I know what this thing is. Whether it's the, um, cohort leading people through it, whether it's a online, like in-person webinar thing, if it's gonna be a course, if it's gonna be, I have all of the frameworks for all of those already in mind. Some of them I've actually completely done and built, but honestly, I have already come up with some changes
Right.
in it that I would have made. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to release it as it is because it needs to be a version 2. And I should have
Yeah.
honestly waited and
That's
did
my
just
point.
the first 2
Yeah.
chapters. And then as people go through it, then build it out as it's needed. So I'm really going to try that this time, which is
Yeah.
why there's only one rung on my ladder at this point. Because I'm like, I don't want to, I know what I would like to offer,
Yeah.
but that may not be what people are hungry for or want.
Yeah.
And
And it's
so
like
I'm like,
it's okay that you only have one rung. Like be thinking about what rung 2 is. That's where your next, time
yeah,
block
I don't
goes.
even have a money rung on there yet. It's just an email rung. And I'm like, okay. But I don't know, like, is the next thing a $19 thing, a $49 thing, a $499 thing? Like,
Right.
really
Right.
depends. It
And
depends
that's the
on
other thing
what
is like
people are
you don't
wanting.
have to know what the 5th rung is right now. And certainly don't put any time and effort into it. Figure out what that next rung is. Once you figure out what that next rung is, then figure out what the 3rd rung is. right?
Yeah.
You don't have to, and certainly don't build all of it at the same time, right? Which is, I
Right.
know the kind of, that is how you like to work.
Oh, yeah. I like to
And that,
do everything all at
yeah,
once.
and that's
Yeah.
great. Man, I like, what I love about, you is that in a week's time, we'll meet, after being a week, and you'll have done all these things. And it's amazing because a lot of people are not action oriented like that. I
Right.
think my whole thing is like, you just don't know yet. You need to let the market tell you what they actually want. So just
Right.
stay a step ahead of them. Don't stay five, because you're going to end up revising
Yeah,
it.
agreed. And I feel like it's hard and it is a battle all of the time. In fact,
Yeah.
in my latest website that I built out, there's, I don't know, a dozen pages probably on it, just maybe 10, 12 pages. And there's 6 pages on 6 different loops. Well, I have 9 that I share with people, but I only written out the explanation framework for 6, and I intentionally kept 3 unwritten to drive me crazy because
Okay.
I'm like, once I finish those are that's the next step on the website. So if I finish that, my brain will automatically jump to the next thing and then I'll begin on that. And I don't want to yet. So I'm pumping the brakes by only writing out the 6 and then saying 3 more to come. I have them. I have them
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
chomping. But the moment they're on paper or on digital paper on the page, then my brain will go, okay, next step is, and then I'll just immediately go into it. And I have to slow myself down.
Yeah.
And so
It's
this is how I found to do it. So hopefully it doesn't throw people off and they're not like reading the different loops and they're like, oh my God, I'm stuck in the consumerism, but also that one. And so that one's not written and I need it. Okay, well then message me and tell me that. And
right.
I'll write that one. I'll maybe even send it to you privately. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, it's just, yeah, I'm not ready yet to move forward. And so I have to intentionally pop the pop the tire or take the tire off the car and be like, okay, I can't drive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's working with what I got. Like I know my brain and I know what stops it, and this is stopping it.
I think a lot of maturing, is just understanding your dysfunction and how to
Mhm.
hack it to make it to be more effective.
Yeah.
Um, I mean,
That's
that's worked for me.
yeah. And it's very much the approach I take in all of my career paths. I don't want
Yeah.
to say but yeah. So often people are like, I need this fixed. I'm like, no, you need to learn to work with it.
Right. Right.
Like you can't always make everything, but you can use it. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Well,
feel like that's sometimes smarter. It doesn't make as much money and it isn't as good. Like in the field I'm in, it makes way more sense to be like, no, let's fix it. Could take 6 years. Sit down.
right.
And instead of like, dude, in 4 sessions, I could teach you how to like change your mindset, switch the way you think about that. Instead of it being a negative, it's a positive, and here's how you use it
Yeah.
to make your
Yeah.
life better. Like the goal here is to make your life better, not to fix that thing.
Yeah. You're just kicking them off your product ladder. That's what you're doing. You're just,
I
you
know.
need some kind of like, you need a membership there, right? Where it's just little,
Mhm.
mindset adjustments, weekly mindset adjustments brought to you by Aaron Jarrells.
Right?
That's a podcast in itself,
Yeah,
for
I
subscribers.
should.
Let them pay you $5 a month. For all the
Yeah.
people that you kick off the ladder, you're putting give them a
Uh-huh.
next step, let
Man.
them show their appreciation to you for, with a
Yeah.
recurring small revenue, just
Yeah.
anyway.
It's tough. I do have people come back in 6 months and go, you know what? Like, I need a refresher. Just pump me back. And I'm like, you're only coming this one time. And they're like, yeah, I already feel better just once I made the appointment. And I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
Because it refreshed your mindset and then put you in the right space, the right
Right.
headspace. Because
Right.
before you were just, it changed your perspective. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
all right. So I know we said this was a short one,
Well, we hit
and
50 minutes. So I
it
don't know
was a,
if that's short or not, but
it was a long, short one. But anyway, I feel like we got everything we wanted to talk about. Hopefully, we gave the audience something to consider.
hopefully. Yeah. And if you have any pushback and you think we're wrong, please tell us. We're happy to hear you. Um,
Oh,
you
I'd
know,
love to talk to you. I'm not going to convince you of anything else, but I'd love
yeah.
to hear. an alternate perspective for sure.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like I was discussing this with some friends. Like, I'm not coming to the conversation to convince you. I'm coming to the
Right.
conversation to expand my understanding. Right. So if you
Ah,
have
man.
something different to say,
Uh-huh.
like, hit
Dude,
me. I want to
if
understand it better.
listen, if I think I'm right and you think you're right, then please tell me and enlighten me to see it the way you see it. Then I'll know
Yeah.
two right ways.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Man, we
So
are really just solving the world's problems, aren't we?
yeah, one
Oh man.
one one episode at a time.
Yeah. So I think this was episode 60. If it
Nice.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Like, what
Uh-huh.
was the statistic? Most podcasts never make it past 3?
Right. And then
Yeah.
even fewer past 5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy,
which is
man. Well,
good.
for the 7 people that listen to us, man, we've got a lot of content. That's like
And
60 hours of content.
and seriously, we're glad you're here.
Seriously, and you should message us with your
Yeah,
questions.
share your business idea or your concept. Share us your journey. Like, let
Yeah,
us know where you're at in your journey, and then if you got some advice for us, give it to us. If you need some, ask. And if we can't help you, one of our other listeners can.
that's
Maybe your story
absolutely
can help, the next listener.
yeah.
So anyway, cool. I
Cool, man.
appreciate you allowing me to do this. I know we weren't necessarily going to do an episode today, and we were like,
Yeah.
last week
But
we were like, maybe we'll do one next week. I'm glad this week when we got together and started talking, we are like, we got to hit record. Let's do this.
yeah, well, if you look at our rhythm, a lot of times we'll record every week, but we release them not every week. Our
Right.
average over the last 60 episodes has been every other week. So
Okay.
I'm kind of feeling that we just kind of lean into that, and then fill in the other week, the week in between week, with social content. But that's my
Okay.
thoughts. You know,
Where it works so far. Let's keep going.
I mean,
We'll adjust
at
if we
least
need to.
at least we have a little bit of a. We can do the same thing we've been
Cadence.
doing, but do it on purpose, right?
Right.
Um,
It's an intentional cadence now.
Exactly,
So
exactly. We
yeah.
found our natural rhythm, and now we're gonna decide to go with it instead of
Yeah.
fighting it all the time.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, hey, I feel like this was a good one. It was a good one for me. I learned some stuff.
Yep.
I'm excited that things are happening, and I wanted to encourage you about the person with the membership. Like, a rainstorm starts with one drop of water. So
Right.
maybe this is the thing. But until next week, mind your business. Hey, thanks for listening to the Minding Your Business podcast. Your hosts are Aaron Gerals and me, CJ Jolliffe. If you want to find out more about us or when we're going live or follow us on socials, just go to our website, mybpodcast.com. And again, thank you so much for listening.